Hello, how is everybody on this Tuesday night? Just setting up my camera here. Hello, hello. It's got to put a rubber band around it to help hold it on. Because, you know, I'm a real genius at recording my own videos. There we go. Hi guys. How you doing? I'm going to be working on some Gumpaste roses, and I started making my little bulbs ahead of time. So I'm not going to keep all of them on the skewers. I might trim them down, but this is how I got started this afternoon. So I had to let those set up a little bit, and so let me just get the camera all tuned in here for you. Get it down here at the table. I'm going to grab a couple things off my shelf. I'm still here though. Hang on 1 second. I wanted to get set up before I wanted to get all ready. But I was a little late. I told you guys I'd be here at 7, and I'm here, but I'm not ready. So let me just get a few things going here. So I am going to be using this 5 petal cutter. I'll just show you real close. It's got the, you know, the sizes and the numbers on it. It kind of gives you an order of how you should fold them up. So you can do it that way if you want. You don't have to. So like this one says A1. So this would be the first petal that you'd fold up, and then you'd go to 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. But if you haven't made these before and you don't have this, totally okay. Let me just get something else you can use. And because Wendy's not ready, hang on. There's different ways you can do roses if you don't have the 5 petal cutter. So if I was ready, I would have had everything out for you guys. So you can use one of your flower cutters, your 5 petal flower cutters. You can use regular circles. And this was, I think, I don't know what shape it was. It might have even been a circle at one time. And I just kind of squeezed it because I didn't have a petal cutter. So this is my version of a petal cutter. So you don't have to have this 5 petal leaf cutter to make the roses. So, but you do need to start with, you need a bulb. So you can either roll up a piece of gum paste or a piece of fondant and let it set overnight. Depending on your size of roses that you want for your cakes, you can even use the foam balls. Let's see real quick. If you were going to make large ones, you could start with these for your center for your flowers. These would make very large roses, but it is an option. And I think you can get these smaller too. You probably can. So, but just to kind of give you guys, you know, a few suggestions before I started. So, you just get started here. I'll get you pointed down, get you closer to me. And I'm just going to go ahead and start working. And when you guys pop in the room, I won't be able to see you. Hang on, I'm just tightening up my camera here so it doesn't fall on me. There we go. So hopefully you can see all right. And let me just get a paper towel. And I'm going to wash my surface a little bit with some vodka, because I did do a lot of coloring today. So I'm not going to use a big space, but I do want it to be clean. Just get any color off it. You know, I can't see with my eye. See, it's got some green and stuff on there. So yeah, it's a good tip before you start working, clean your surface really well. And I have a mixture. I know you can't see me because I have the camera pointed way down. I actually bought some of the Wilton gum paste because I ran out of Tylos. And I mixed it with some 50-50 of the Lismeric fondant. So I have a whole bag of the Wilton gum paste mixed with the same amount of Lismeric fondant. So that's what I'm going to be using to make my gum paste roses out of. So it is a mix. Just going to wipe my pen off too. I don't know if anybody's here. I can't see anything yet. And if you're not, that's okay. You can watch it later. We have a little thing of shortening. I'm just going to set this out too. I like to keep my hands moist. It also helps to keep the gum paste moist. So I'm just going to take a little bit out at a time. Wrap this back up tight. Just dry up pretty quick. And I'm going to grab my saran wrap so I have that handy, because I'm going to need that too. There we go. I wonder if I can bring you guys more like you were standing next to me. I wonder how that looks. That's pretty cool, right? Gosh, my shop's kind of a mess. Sorry, guys. So I'm just going to warm this up a little bit. And I'm going to be using a couple different sponges, which mine are really been used a lot. Probably should invest in some new sponges, sponging pads. It's funny, when I have a little extra money, I never seem to order the stuff that I need. I always seem to order the stuff that I want versus the stuff that I need. So I do need more foam pads. That would be a nice little gift. So I'm just going to roll out some gum paste and fondant mixture. I'm going to do a couple of these just to get started here. And I'm going to set them aside. I'll put them under some saran wrap. It's funny, I have, even though I wipe my surface down, whenever I work with like the disco dusts or, the edible glitters, I never can seem to get those cleaned up. They just always reappear, no matter how good you clean. So you might see a sparkle every now and then. I'm trying to roll this quite thin. Yes, it was my elbow that just popped. Something on there. Now I'm not rolling it out to where it's totally see-through, but I am rolling it out quite thin. There we go. I'm just going to pick it up again so I can move it. And I'm going to go ahead and put some saran wrap down. I need to put some of these on there. Probably could go a little bit thinner. I can actually feel it more than what you guys can see, even more than what I can see. Just by feeling it, I can tell how thin it is or thick. So I'll get a few of these cut out, and then with this 5-petal cutter, you really gotta push it pretty good. And I'm just going to move these over to the saran wrap for right now. I have quite a few roses I need to make for this weekend's order. So I'm not going to make them all tonight, at least not on the video. I'm just going to make a few for you guys. one or two maybe. If you're here and I'm not saying something, I apologize. I'll look in a second. Just want to get these pulled off. Once I get working, I don't really pay too much attention to what's going on around me. But yes, I'm using the 5-petal cutter right now. And it's not cutting super clean right now, I'll show you. It's got some frayed edges, but I'm going to go through and push all those down before I thin them out on the mat with my balling tool. I believe I need to make, for this weekend's cake order, about 20 roses. Good size roses, not small ones. So I figured I'd start today and get them going. And I'm going to be, they're all going to be gold for this particular cake order. I don't have an image printed out. It's on my phone. I could show you if I could figure out how to do that. Now I can get one more out of here. There we go. I'm just giving it a good press so it cuts as clean as I can get it to cut. There we go. I'm just going to cover these up. I'm going to do a couple larger ones. So I'm going to need 2 of the 5-petal gum pastes that I just cut out. 2 for each bud, for each rose, and then probably 4 or 5 other petals. I might use this one that I kind of, made my own. So I'm going to work on that next. So I'm going to thin out some more. I do have my air conditioner running, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. It was warm today here in South Carolina, but the sun's going down, so it's getting nicer. Okay. There we go. I'm just going to move these out of the way for a minute. We've got a little more saran wrap. There we go. And I'm just going to adjust this cutter that I kind of fabricated on my own because I want it to be a little bit wider at the top. So I know if I keep messing with this, it's just going to break. One of these days I'll order the actual petal cutters for roses. But for now, we just make things work with what we have. I'm going to do a few of these. I don't know if anybody's here. I don't know if Facebook is showing that or not. If you are here, just say hello so I know someone's here. I don't like talking to myself that much. I'm just going to go and cut a whole bunch of these. I can keep them under the saran wrap. And, even if I don't use them tonight, I can use them tomorrow as long as they don't dry up. Quite a few there. I'll just set these over here. You know, if I was only making one rose for you guys, just for a demo, I wouldn't have to take so much time, but since I have a whole bunch to do for this cake order this weekend, I might as well just cut out as many as I can get when I have it rolled out. You cake decorators will understand that, right? Okay, just get this out and down. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to set this aside. Actually, you know what? I might need a couple small round ones too, just to be on the safe side, because technically the 5-petal cutter that I'm using is for a large bulb. So, like this bulb, really, this leaf, this petal is going to go right up and over, which I do want, but technically this is a tiny bit small. So I might need to make my first 2 petals out of a small cutter, just so I can cover the bulb of the rose and make it look more realistic. So, and again, just trying to do the best we can with what we have, right? So, and I have used just the Tylos in with fondant to make flowers, but I haven't made a ton of flowers myself. For some reason, it's just something that, you know, it's a little scary when you look at people's flowers and you're like, oh my gosh, how do they ever make them? I tend to make them, they look kind of heavy and bulky, and I'm sure after I practice more and do more, take a few more classes, I'll get better at it. So I'm going to set these over here so I have some. I'm not throwing away this little piece. No. You can use it to make more bulbs or the little tiny pieces we saved. You just got to remember that's gum paste. It's not fondant. Okay, so I have all my pieces cut out. And I'm going to leave 2 out, just because I'm going to use those. I'll use maybe 2 or 4 for my, to cover my bulbs with. Okay, so let me just see if you guys can still see okay. Alright, and I need a little bit of water. We do have a little water here. There we go. And I need my foam pad, what's left of it. And a ball tool, and I'm going to put just a little bit of sugar out here on top of a sponge. For some reason, every now and again I wipe my ball tip off and just kind of rub it along the sponge. And it just kind of helps dry it and keep it from sticking. So I'm just thinning out one edge of each of these circles. So these are going to be my starter petals that I'm going to put on the rose. So move this over so you guys can see. And do I have another cake dummy? Let's see. That's something that I can just work on one so you guys can see. Oh, I don't have all these sticking up in your face. Let's see, how's that? Maybe if I do this, it'll work. Okay. Can you see that okay? Alright. Now this bulb actually isn't super pointy. It kind of came out looking a little bit like a balloon. But that's okay. It's all going to get covered up anyway. And I'm probably not going to keep them on the dowels. I might just trim those down. So I'm just going to wash out a brush with a little water. And you can use, you know, your sugar glue, or I'm just going to use water. So I'm just going to put a little water on here. I don't don't need a ton. And then I'm going to start by putting one petal on. I'm going to tighten it all the way around. And the other petal. And I'll show it to you in a second. Okay, so now I have the two petals on. Now technically you're supposed to close this hole. So this one I didn't get closed properly. So I'm just going to give it a little pinch, to close it as best I can. And the next one I'll just be more careful to make sure that I close it all the way. So that's just the starting of this one. I'll set that aside. Now we're going to grab one of the 5 petals. And again, if you don't have this particular cutter, you would cut out 5 of these and do them individually, or you could use your largest 5-petal cookie cutter or cutter. And if it's too small, just cut your gum paste a little bit on the thick side and use your ball tool and thin out each petal and kind of stretch it and make it large enough to fit. So you still can do roses, and you could even use regular round cutters. So don't feel frustrated if you don't have this. I know I did. I was watching a cake decorating video a couple of years ago, and the flowers they were making were just phenomenal. I'm like, oh, I've got to have that cutter. I won't be able to make the flowers if I don't have the cutter. And it's funny because I can make the flowers without this cutter. So I'm just going to go through real quick, and if I can get my hands to cooperate. And just where it's not smooth, I'm just going to push that down a little bit. So, you don't have to do that. Just the ones that, look a little bit too jaggedy. But, even in nature, flowers aren't perfect, so. And I'm just going to go through and thin out the edges. Technically, I could use a larger ball tool here, because these are big flowers. Just wash this off better. Try and wash it and dry it good on my sponge. There we go. And if you don't have a sponge, I guess you could use, anything that's just got a little bit of padding to it. So, but this is just the way I do it for now, and everybody does it different. And there's so many extremely talented flower makers out there. Oh. Just incredible what they can do with sugar. So I'm in no way comparing mine to theirs. I'm just doing a rose. Okay, so in this step, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little water on the back of this end here. A little water here. Just to get these damp. Not too wet, but going to run the skewer through. I'm not sure, we'll bring up one petal at a time. If I would have used a wire, it would have been easier because I could have just slid the 5-petal cutter right through the foam. So it's kind of a little awkward right here at this point. That's okay, because I will make it work. Just have to do a little more finagling with it. So there, now I have my first set. I'm just going to give them a good press. Now, you can also hang these upside down and let them set for a while. You wouldn't be able to do it the way I did it because Wendy used skewers. Hello, ladies. I don't know who's here. It says there's a couple viewers. Welcome, welcome. I'm assuming you're ladies, but you know, there could be a man there too. So there's step one. And, you know, the more you thin the edges of your petals, the more realistic your rose is going to look. So, okay, now I'm going to take out another 5 petal. And they're actually a tiny bit sticky, just because I had rolled them out and then set them in the plastic. So I'm just putting a little bit of sugar down there. Now this one, you know, it didn't cut super clean. Can you see that? I'm actually going to leave it. I'm going to leave it and see how it looks. I'm just going to leave it that one. Am I using my big ball tool? Yes, I am. I'm just going to go around each petal. And again, if you don't have this 5-petal cutter, you can do one at a time, and you just add them one at a time onto your rose. And I'm standing doing this, so I'm trying to keep the petals from sticking to each other. Just going to give them a little bit of a yank. Pull on them a tiny bit. I don't want them sticking together. Don't know if they're going to cooperate, but there we go. And hopefully you guys can see this. I don't know, can I zoom in with this? I'm not sure if I can or not. Because as I'm thinning, the petals are kind of curling a little bit. Let's see if I can show that to you. See how they kind of curl? Isn't that cool? Okay, so now I'm just going to grab a toothpick or a skewer. I have tons of them here. I have a skewer. And I'm just going to roll in the edges a little bit on a couple of these. And this is where I wish I could zoom in a little bit. Oh, I can zoom in. Fabulous. See, can I zoom in more? I just have to move up more, right? I'm just going to bring in, if you guys can see me doing this, I'm just going to curl in a couple of these edges. And you can skip this step if you wanted to. You don't have to do this step. Just slowly rolling it in a little bit. Just to give the flower a little more movement too. Move it down here. And last side. Here we go. I'm going to flip it over. going to thin them out a little bit more. Yes, on my very old sponge. Needs to go in the dishwasher, I think. Now this one's going to be a little bit tricky only because, actually I might be able to run my skewer down through here now that I look at it because I'm using my sponge this time. So I'll put some water on here. I just got to keep checking the camera to make sure you guys can see. So, there we go. So now, since I have a point, I'm just going to go ahead and drop my rose right onto the petals. I'm just going to line them up here. And I'm going to trim this down in here. Hang on one second, I got to grab my cutters. I'm just going to trim the bottom down because I don't need it this long. Here we go. Now I'm just going to start folding up these petals. So they're a little easier to hold because they're sitting on the sponge. So normally I would be sitting down and I could have this propped up like on a coffee can or something. I'm just gently pressing it. Definitely want the bottom to be adhered good. There we go. So that's step 2. And, you know, you can fiddle with your petals a little bit. You know, these ones are already starting to set, so you know, you really don't get a ton of time. So this actually needs to sit in something. That's how prepared I am today. I have to grab a paper towel. Hang on one second. See if I can find my egg cartons here. Let's see. Something that I know we all have. I know I have. I have tons of these egg cartons. So I'm just going to grab one. I'm going to trim this down some more. I'm just going to leave a small amount on here. Just so I can set it in here for a minute. I need to put a few more petals on it, but I'll soon back out. But I need to have a place where it can sit and dry where it's not going to fall apart. So I'll get it back out in a minute because I still want to put a couple more petals on it. There we go. Move him, move this aside. And let me do the other petals that I have set up. Yes, I always manage to get a ton of stuff in my way. So I'm going over now to these handmade petals that I cut. And I'm going to do probably, I'd like it to be a good sized rose, so I think I'm going to do 6. Well, 5. I'll do 5. I'll keep it symmetrical. I'll do 5 large ones. So I'm going to get my net back out, and I'm just going to round the edges on these too, just to get these filled out. Just going to set these right in here for the moment, right in my egg carton. And if you did have the 5-petal cutter, this one, you could do the same step. Just cut out each of your petals and then use your ball tool to make them bigger. So, or if you have the right cutter for this particular rose, you know, he would be using that at this step. But your last petal, you want it to be somewhat larger, so I'm just going to make this one bigger just by using my ball tool. Just let those set in the egg carton for a minute while I'm doing these. So yes, there's quite a bit of few steps involved in making roses. But everybody has their own way of doing it, and there's so many different roses out there. But I've done quite a few different versions, and I do like this version. So if I had the right cutters, it would go a little bit quicker, I think. But we're improvising. That's what we do. We improvise. I just keep taking my ball tool and kind of wiping it off on the sponge. I could have done this step first, that way these could have set up a little bit, because these are going to be the final 5 petals that I'm going to put around this rose here. So they might have to set up a little bit before I can do that. And this particular cake order has all gold roses. So I ordered some Rokum gold, big bottle. I got it from Sugar Delights. I actually called, and I actually ordered it online. I was worried that they wouldn't be able to get it to me in time. And I talked to Jen, and she's fabulous. She called me like 3 times to make sure that my order was right and that it would come on time. So I haven't opened this yet. I might do this while you guys are here, just so you know, so you could see too. I haven't used it yet. Let me just open it. Yeah, I know, I'm getting off track here, but that's what I do. I don't stay focused long. So, and I know there's a lot of people out there. Oh yeah, look at all that. That's a lot. Oh, now I have to go wash my hands because I went and touched the gold. Actually, I don't, because they're all going to be gold anyway. I got a big thing of vodka, and I'm going to mix this in with my applicator and with some vodka and my gold, and I'm going to airbrush all my roses gold. I figured that's probably going to be the best way for me to get these flowers gold. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, see, we're kind of, us cake people, we get excited easy. Yes. So, okay. So this last step here, putting the last petal on, I have to let them set up a little bit. So these are going to be the last petals, and they might even be a little too small. Let me just see real quick if these are going to work. So these petals are going to go on last. See, they're going to go on like that. So, actually, I might do it this way. I might have to flatten them out just a tiny bit and see what I like. Actually, I don't even like them. I think I need to do them rounder. It's funny how that works. I'm changing my mind. But I'm doing my cake order early, so I can change my mind, right? Why not? I'm going to actually steal this out of here for now. I'm going to trim it down. I'm going to try and make these the large petals. Just, you know, because I've already got them all cut out. I just want to see if I can get it to work. And I'm just going to use a blade and cut these individually. Like this. I don't know if I'll be able to get these as big as I'd like them, but we'll see if I can. If I can't, then I might use my one of my round cutters. So we'll see. going to take my ball tool. I'm going to make the whole petal a little bit larger here. So I'm just kind of rubbing the whole petal. And then I'm just going to go through and thin the edge and see how that works for me. That might be big enough. You know, this one versus this one. So and then I'll just pull my flower up and see. I think I already like this one better. You know, because I do want to make these big roses. So this one I could let set for a couple minutes. But, yes, this one looks like it's going to work. So I'm just going to keep doing these. I'm just going to put them in the, just going to let them set for a minute in here. And do the rest of them. I don't know if you guys are saying anything. You might be saying something. Donna's here. Hi, Donna. Let's see, she said, what do you set the petal on while you are stretching it? You mean the foam? These foam pads? Was it that you were asking about? I'll wait for you to answer me. She might not even be here now. But yes, it's just a foam pad. I think I got these in one of my kits a while back. I need to actually take these in and throw them in the dishwasher or the washing machine or something and get them cleaned up. You guys can find the foam mats probably at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. You know, I wouldn't send anyone to either one of those stores. Isn't that awful? Because it's the most expensive place in the world to shop. I went to Hobby Lobby down here and I looked at their clearance aisle and I turned around and laughed. I said to my daughter, come on, let's go. If they want these prices for items that are on clearance, I don't even want to look up the rest of the stuff they have in here. It's terrible. Never seen a store with such ridiculous prices on stuff. Order it online, guys. You'll find a lot cheaper prices. You know, you might have to wait a few days, but heck, crazy they charge. So I'm just giving it a really good, because I'm trying to make these petals larger. These are my back petals to my rose. And again, they're going to be all gold, so I'm not super worried about if they're, if I'm going too thin here or there. Or I'm going to be painting them all anyway. They're going to be gold. Really excited about this cake for this weekend. I'm not going to say anything about it because it's a cake I've never done before, and you know, it's a really big order, and I just don't want to say anything because, you know, I'm somewhat superstitious sometimes. So I'm not going to brag about it until I actually deliver it and do it, and I'm happy with it. Donna, where do you buy from? I'm not sure. I usually just go to Amazon, Donna, and I look for the best prices, or I'll just type it into Google. So, love your nails, Lainey. Yeah, they grow so fast, I gotta cut them off, honey. I just cut them a couple months ago, and they're all growing back. Okay, so the last step for this particular rose, I have to wait, because, you know, I just did these petals here. So, when these set up a little bit more, let me just see real quick. You need to set up a tiny bit more here. Oh, actually maybe not. So I might be able to put these on now. Can you still see? I don't think you can. Yes, you can. Just pull these out. It's a good thing about gum paste, boy. Look how fast. See how fast that sets up? I'm just going to find where I put my brush and my water. Kind of working here with one hand. I'm just adding some water here and there because I can't really control what I'm doing with one hand, so I'm trying to be careful. Okay, so now I'm just going to start adding these larger petals right around the bottom. And I believe I was only going to do 5, 2, And I have to keep kind of looking down. You know, I know it's hard for you guys to see, but I kind of need to see what I'm doing too. 4, 3, 4, and I need one more. So I'm kind of looking down on it too. There we go. So there's 5. And I'm just going to kind of fiddle with the leaves a little bit. I want it to dry right in this egg carton. I mean, you could just, you know, if you have the silicone, if you have a silicone pan that's got round in there, you can use that. Or, but I don't have anything like that, so I'm just using what I have available to me. And I'm just kind of tucking the paper towel right up to it to kind of help support the leaves. So it will dry that way. There we go. So there's one gum paste rose. Isn't it pretty? I don't know if you caught the beginning, Donna. I'll just move my camera up if I can. I don't know if I can or not. I didn't break it. I started this morning and I made some of the bulbs. So these are already set up. So you need something to start with. I put these on skewers because I figured, well, I could just, you know, put the skewers right into the cake, which I can, but I might not have to. So, but you can start by making just a ball out of gum paste or fondant in a little teardrop shape and just set it out and let it dry overnight. You have to go back and watch it over. Or like I was saying at the beginning too, if you don't have time to watch it over, if you're making really big roses, you could use the foam balls. I think you could even buy these in foam. They come, they're called rosebuds, and you can order a whole bunch of these, and then you don't have to even do this stuff. All you have to do is make your petals. That's just a neat little option. So if someone actually, you know, said, hey, let's just make the bulbs for Coke so they can buy it. It does help save time. Okay, so I'm going to do one more flower. And so I'll start all over again from step 1, just for anybody who wants to watch. And I'll try and go a little quicker this time. So I'm going to grab my bulb. I'm going to get a larger bulb this time. Let's see. Can you see that one? Okay. So now I'm not going to talk so much, and I'm just going to work. So, but we'll see. I always end up talking. Yes, very humid in here. These are super sticky. And I have my air conditioner on, but boy, the humidity down here in South Carolina, it is sticky. I just had to dust these with a little bit of sugar first. And I'm just going over them with my ball tool. Zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. Come on, cooperate with me, camera. Here we go. And I'm just going half on and half off of the petal. That's what kind of curls it. And if you don't have a ball tool, you can use the end of your rolling pin. If you have a rolling pin, if you don't have a rolling pin, you can use, let's see, you might be able to use a dowel, but maybe not. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that. Just, you know, for people who don't have those particular tools on hand, but still want to be able to make a flower. I've seen this actually done just on a table, and they just kind of pressed onto the petal, kind of like, you know, did this between 2 pieces of saran wrap. You don't necessarily get the curling, but you do get the thinned edge, which really gives the flower, the rose, a more realistic appearance. Because roses, you know, really aren't technically ruffled. So, oops, hang on one sec. I forgot to do my 2 little. I might just skip that stuff. going to do this one a little different. I'm just going to skip the step at the beginning. I'm going to run it through here. So I'm going to set it on my sponge because this time I can hold it now. Now I can support it. So now I can run my whole dowel through, and now it's not falling all over. So maybe now I can get a little more control versus the beginning of the video. Now, this particular cutter, it gives you the numbers, like I was telling you, in order. So number 1, you'd put number 1 up, and then number 2 would be next. When you roll out your flower, you can see the numbers on the fondant, on your gum paste. So, but I'm going to trim this. But you don't have to do it that way. It's just an option. I just have to trim it so I can work with it. So I'm going to give it a good yank here because I want to really get this. I want it to go all the way around. I'm going to wet this some more. I'm going to try and hide that bulb this time. I really want to try and make that disappear if I can. As best I can. It's about as good as I'm going to get. And when I do these on my own and I can sit down and I don't have to fiddle with the camera, then I should be able to use 2 fingers and I'll be able to really pinch that center closed because you really don't want to see that bulb down there. So, just kind of hard doing it here by myself. So this is step 1. Now I'm just going to kind of let it go here. And I mean, you could even, if you wanted smaller roses, you could stop at this point, you know, because even this is really pretty. You know, you could make a couple smaller petals if you wanted to, or you could just go ahead and, you know, smooth this out, let it dry and do your calyxes, and, you know, cover your skewer with your florist tape, and you're good to go. But I have to do large roses for this cake order, so there's step 1. Cool, huh? Donna, you could do this easy. Okay? Just one more time. I had to put a little more sugar down here because these are so sticky and tacky. You notice I'm not putting the sugar right directly on it. I'm just kind of patting it. So. Yes, it would be cool to have a great big foam pad, you know, one that actually my flower would fit on. I'll have to look and see if I can find some on the internet somewhere. You know, they have different thicknesses. I like this pink thickness one. This one's actually pretty thin. It's like 1/16 of an inch. Yeah, but they come in all different thicknesses. It all depends on what you're working on. I'm trying to stay here where you can see me. I keep moving off camera, don't I? I was thinking of the idea of maybe hanging a camera from the ceiling so you guys could look right down, but, you know, then I wouldn't be paying attention. You'd be looking at the top of my head. Need a cameraman, that's all. Any cameramen out there? So this step I'm also going to skip doing curling the edges. I just want to see how it looks. I'm just going to give it, I'm going to flip it over. But yeah, I'm going to skip the curling the edges with the skewer this step. I'm moving it over to the other foam pad so I can run the skewer through it. Yeah, it's not going as willingly now because I cut the point off. Let's take some finagling trying to get this to go on. One more. I'm trying to keep it angled so you guys can see too. Because just looking down on it, I could do that all day, but holding it at an angle so you guys can see, it's a little funny for me. Here we go. So, even though I skipped curling the edges, it still looks pretty good, you know? This petal actually tore a little bit, but I'm going to leave it, you know? There are no perfect flowers, are there? Well, then again, I take that back. I did get some really pretty ones from my kids. They were pretty perfect. So, I'm just going to trim this one a little bit more so I can set it in my former here. Get another paper towel. So yes, save your egg cartons. They do come in handy, believe it or not. Very handy. So I'm going to also make some more of the petals to go on the outside of this as well. So this one isn't done yet. So, but this one's set up pretty quick. I'll give you the first one again so you can see it. See, isn't it pretty? And the cake I'm doing this weekend, it has 3 roses on each cake. So that's really all I'm going to say. Each cake has 3 roses. So I need to make quite a few of these. And then I'm going to go ahead and airbrush them all gold. And that's going to be it. So I made two roses for you guys. Yeah, it's still pretty, isn't it pretty? So this idea with the thinner one, it didn't really work out that good. So I'm going to skip that one. Just ignore that part when you go back and watch it. I thought it might work because I thought I might be able to get them big enough, you know, with my ball tool. But you actually need quite a large petal to go around your rose, at least this size. So, you know, this one I'll just use for maybe some type of a leaf or something. But that's all. I'm going to go. So, any questions, you guys, before I leave? Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much. I know there's more here. I just can't, I can't see if you said anything. I'm not sure if I can scroll up. Don't know if I can scroll up. Hello, hello. Maybe I can scroll up. I think Donna's the only one that's been commenting. Thank you, Donna. Okay, so Tuesday night here in South Carolina, making roses. I'm going to keep working, guys. So, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, you guys. Okay? It's either right there now or when I'm done, when I hang up, it'll show up. So, just hit record, okay? All right. Okay, guys. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.